This is session 3. In this session, we want to discuss something about moon sighting. This is sort of a preparatory session for our next session, in which we want to explore in details about some of the concepts related to moon sighting, related to calculation, related to the confusion as to which of the two is correct and should be followed. So these are some of the issues which we need to explore. But before that, we want to prepare you with the hadith statements over which it seems to be the case that the controversy has arisen in the first place. So we'll look at some hadith statements in this session. We'll look at around 5 hadith statements, all of which are from Sahih Bukhari and all of which are from Kitab as-Sawm, that is book number 30, book of fasting. So this is Kitab as-Sawm, this is book number 30 and book of fasting. And we jump straight to chapter number 5. Chapter number 5. So this is chapter number 5. Chapter number 5, chapter, should it be said Ramadan or the month of Ramadan, and whoever thinks that both are permissible. And the first hadith that we intend to look at is hadith number 1900. So let's jump straight to hadith number 1900. So this is the hadith I am talking about. So let's read the English translation first. Let's give it a rapid reading, and then we will also look at the Arabic text. It says, narrated Ibn Umar Razillahu Anhu, I heard Allah's Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying, when you see the crescent of the month of Ramadan, start fasting. And when you see the crescent of the month of Shawwal, stop fasting. And if the sky is overcast and you can't see it, then regard the month of Ramadan as of 30 days. Seems pretty simple, isn't it? So what's the controversy about it? I said that there's a huge controversy about this particular hadith. In fact, there is no controversy with the hadith. There's no controversy with the Arabic text. But people have created controversies out of the translation. Now they say, those who argue their case for moon sighting and nothing else is acceptable. So they say, can't you say this particular hadith from Sahih Bukhari, which says when you see the crescent of the month of Ramadan, start fasting, and when you see the crescent of the month of Shawwal, stop fasting, and if the sky is overcast and you can't see it, then regard the month of Ramadan as of 30 days. Isn't it so very clear? So why do you even bring the case of calculation? Where is the scope for calculation? So this is how they argue, those who say citing nothing else is acceptable. So this is the evidence they quote. This is one of the evidences they quote, and we have quoted the same. And at first glance, when we look at the English translation, it seems that they have a point. So this hadith by itself seems to be very simple in its meaning and its interpretation, in its understanding, but not quite. So where is the source of the confusion? The source of the confusion is in the translation itself. See, the translation is massively problematic, and this is the softest word that I could use. Problematic is the softest word that I could use for this case. It says when you see the crescent of the month of Ramadan. As we explain, we also want to explain some nitty-gritties of the language as far as required for our analysis, and we don't want to go too deep into it. When you see the crescent of the month of Ramadan, the first point to be noted is of the month of Ramadan, the translator himself has kept it inside brackets. It means that he understands it to be a part of, not a part of text, but this is what is understood from the hadith. So I don't have a problem with it. But for example, even this part of the month of Shawwal. So this is the translator's understanding, and he admits that this is not a part of the core text, the Arabic text. And again, for this part, the translator seems to suggest, and you can't see it, as an understanding and not a part of the text. So far so good. But this is not the end. There are more problems than just these three portions. The first problem is with the first sentence, where it says, when you see the crescent, when you see, the word see, this is problematic. So now we have to go to the Arabic text to explore in a bit more details. It says, Iza, when, Ra'aytumuhu, this is the part. So this is Ra'aytumu, and then who means it. So let us for a moment take Ra'aytumu as see. So when you see it, who means it? Not the crescent. The word crescent itself is not mentioned in part of the text. It may be the understanding, and it is the correct understanding in this case. The Arabic word for the crescent is hilal. So the word hilal is not mentioned. In certain other texts, which we will go through in this session itself, the Arabic word hilal is actually present in the text. So, but in this hadith, the word crescent is not in the text. So ideally, this part, the crescent, should also be in brackets. It should have been when you see it, and then within brackets the crescent of the month of Ramadan. That would have been a better translation. But as I said, that is if we consider ra'aytumu to mean see, but the word ra'aytumu does not mean see. This is the problem. One of the meanings of ra'aytumu, which is derived from the root word ru'ya, the root word is present in another text of the hadith, which we will go in this session itself. It does not have just one meaning. One of the meanings is sighting, eye sighting, that is naked eye sighting, but the meaning of ru'ya is not limited to naked eye sighting alone. If we look at where can we derive the meaning of the word ru'ya, suppose I say the meaning of ru'ya is this, and someone else says the meaning of ru'ya is this. Now, which of the two meanings is correct? How can we know it? We can know the meaning of ru'ya for sure if we look at all the classical dictionaries, lugha, of the Arabic language, in the Arabic language. The word ru'ya can mean naked eye sighting, but it can also mean a host of other meanings, things. For example, it can mean understanding, it can mean knowledge, it can also mean estimation, it can mean vision, it can mean intellectual consideration, it can mean scientific calculation. So all of these words, they come within the fold of the word ru'ya. So when the Prophet ﷺ used the word ru'ya, he deliberately chose a word which is broad in application. Now, in this particular session, it is not my intention to hammer you with the idea that I am in favor of a particular concept and am against a particular concept. No, we are not discussing that at all. Moon sighting versus calculation will be taken up for discussion in a separate session. Please keep that in mind. Here we are only discussing about certain hadiths which is cited as evidence for moon sighting alone, and as a proof that nothing else is acceptable. We're actually trying to go or dig a little deeper into the Arabic text of the hadith and not rely on the translations. And I guess we have every right to do so, because it's a belief that the words of the Prophet ﷺ are accurate, not the translations. So we have to look at the hadith text, the Arabic text of the hadith statements. That's what we're trying to do. So إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَصُومُوا. So let us keep the word رَأَيْتُمُ as رَأَيْتُمُ. So, or let us keep it as ru'ya, which is the common word. When you do ru'ya of it, and within brackets the crescent of the month of Ramadan, then what should you do? Fasumu. Fa means so. So sumu, som, you should fast or start fasting. And then it says wa iza, This is the part I'm talking about. Wa iza, wa means and, iza, and when, ra'aytumuhu, when you do ru'ya of it, who means it, of it, fa'aftiru, so then you break your fast or then stop fasting. The fasting month is over now. So far, so good, or at least not so much problematic, except for the word ru'ya, which we will and we have to explore in more details. But let us look at the last part of the translation. I mean, they have turned it upside down. They have not even turned it upside down. They have brought meanings from where I have no idea. So let us look at the English text. It says, and if the sky is overcast and you can't see it, then regard the month of Ramadan as of 30 days. This is the part I want to focus now. And I will not even blame them for this part, because this is, they have kept it within brackets and you can't see it. So the translator acknowledges this is the understanding and not a part of the Arabic text. But even then, what about the rest of the words? The rest of the words, I mean, this is the part I am talking about. This is the part I am discussing. It says, فَإِن, and if, غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. This is the Arabic text. Did you hear the word Ramadan? No. Did you? I mean, if you don't know Arabic, it will become a bit difficult. But Ramadan is Ramadan. So obviously, you don't see the word Ramadan in this part of the text. I'll tell you, I'll make your life easy. You can verify at your time. The word Ramadan, not there in the Arabic text. The word month, Shahr, Shahru Ramadan unzila fihi al-Quran hudal lin-nas. Surah Baqarah chapter number 2 verse number 185. The word month, not there in the Arabic text. The word 30, not there in the Arabic text. The word days, not there in the Arabic text. The word sky, not there in the Arabic text. The word overcast, not there in the Arabic text. If none of the words which occur in the English translation is present in the Arabic text, then what is? The question is, what is present in the Arabic text? Seems very strange to us how this portion of the Arabic text has been translated. And if the sky is overcast and you can't see it, then regard the month of Ramadan as 30 days. None of the words sky, overcast, month, Ramadan, 30 days, none of it is present in the Arabic text. So what does the Arabic text mean? It means فَإِن غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. I'll make life a little easier for you. You have to put in your own effort. Otherwise, I can't spoon feed you everything. فَإِن, and if, غُمَّ, whatever that means, let's keep it at that for now. And if, غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, alaykum is so simple. Assalamu alaikum, upon you, on you. And if غُمَّ is upon you, happens with you, is upon you, whatever that means, we'll explain in a short time. Then what to do in that case? Faqduru, so uqduru, so do uqduru, lahu, for it. So in that case, do uqduru. Uqduru, I'm keeping it as uqduru. Fa means so do uqduru. Lahu means for it. So now let us try to, now we need to actually understand a few words, otherwise the meanings will not be clear. Uqduru means estimate. So estimate for it. Estimate for what? Estimate for the month. Estimate for the month. And what is the meaning of the word ghumma? Because we have to complete the meaning in the English language. Ghumma alaykum. Now ghumma means, or it can mean multiple things. It can mean grief. It can mean oppression. It can mean chagrin. It can mean pique. It can mean melancholy. It can mean a whole host of things. But let us put things in perspective. فَإِن غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. And if you are overcome, alaykum means upon you. So there is oppression upon you, or there is grief upon you, then estimate for it. Now, why should there be grief upon you? there should be grief upon you for not being able to sight the moon, because you're eagerly awaiting for the moon, the hilal, which will for the Eid, basically for the new month. So you'll celebrate Eid, you're waiting in anticipation for that. So if you don't see it, actually what happens? فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. And if there is grief upon you, there is oppression upon you, what happens? Then you should estimate for it, for the month, for the presence of the hilal. You should do an estimate. That is what is the meaning of the Arabic word uqduru. Then you should estimate for it. Now, let us again go back to the English translation. What did the English translation say? Why I'm spending so much time on this particular translation is, once we understand this translation, the other translations should be easier for us. So it says, and if there is sorrow upon you for not having been able to sight the new moon, or because you don't have knowledge of the new moon, and if there is sorrow upon you for that reason, then what you should do is you should estimate for it. It doesn't say you should complete the month of Ramadan for 30 days. If you hammer that meaning, I won't take any of it, because the word Ramadan is not there, the month 30 is not there, the word days is not there, the word month is not there. So this is a totally inappropriate and unacceptable translation. Say what you may, but this doesn't make any sense to translate it in this fashion. This is misleading, to say the least. Then regard the month of Ramadan as 30 days. Even if that is the intended meaning, you cannot put it in text as if to suggest this is the exact translation, or the equivalent of these words are present in the Arabic text. It's not present at all. Neither is the word sky there. It has nothing to do with the sky. Rather, it has something to do with you. Alaykum, upon you. Assalamu, just as the way we see assalamu alaikum, upon you. Kum is plural, upon you all. So none of you, or all of you, have not been able to sight the moon. Or all of you collectively do not have the knowledge of the presence of the hilal of Shawwal. And if you're overcome by grief because of this, because of the lack of knowledge or the lack of sighting, then you should estimate for it. You can argue what estimate means, but you cannot tell me that it is okay to translate it as then regard the month of Ramadan as 30 days. I'll not have any of it. You can argue what estimate means. That's a different story altogether. We are not even discussing about that aspect in this session. It's not our intention to discuss about that aspect in this session. We'll explore all the intricacies. It's not so simple. It's not very complex either. There are points in favor and against for each of the parties, and we have to give a balanced and the correct understanding. We have to do that. So let's keep it up to this. So we have shown you how massively problematic this translation is, and when you take into account the word ra'aytumu, it does not mean see. It can mean knowledge, it can mean understanding. So when you have the knowledge, the understanding, the estimation, the scientific calculation, all of these are meanings, and these are present in the classical texts of the Arabic Lugha, of the Arabic dictionary. I'm not making things up on my own. So when you have the knowledge, the meaning completely changes. Now you cannot argue, those who do cannot argue based on the translation that the meaning of the hadith is so clear. It's not what you're suggesting. When you see the crescent of the moon, start fasting. It's not see. It's about the knowledge, it's about the understanding. If you want to take this argument a little bit further, you have to look at the word ru'ya, what it means in the Quran. There is no better place to find out the meaning of a word than by looking at it in the Quran. So if you look at it in the Quran, in several places, I just state about 3 or 4 examples. In Surah Sabah, in Surah Kahf, for example, in Surah Sabah, chapter number 34, verse number 6, in Surah Kahf, chapter number 18, verse number 39, in Surah Isra, in Surah Ma'un, and in several other places. In all of these places, the word ru'ya has been used in the Quran, not to indicate the meaning of sight or see, but to indicate the meaning of knowledge, of understanding, of opinion. So this is I mean, the what we have looked at one hadith now, up till now, and this itself seems to be so problematic, the translation. And now you see how everything has the common understanding that we can normally derive from the translation has gone for a toss. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. So enough is enough. I think it's time for us to look at some of the other hadith texts. We have to do justice to the session. The next hadith that we intend to look at is this particular hadith from chapter number 11. Start observing Saum on seeing the crescent of Ramadan and stop on seeing the crescent of Shawwal. I'd just like to inform you one more point, lest you accuse me of maligning or trying to put down Imam Bukhari. I'm not trying to do that at all. Just look at the Arabic text. That is the work of Imam Bukhari and not the English translation. The translations have been done by someone else, some recent scholars, or whoever, whether they're scholars or not, that you should decide for yourself now. But then to point out errors in the translation is not to malign Imam Bukhari. It's not the same point. That's, keep in mind before you just start hurling things at me. Okay, so the next hadith that we want to look at is this particular hadith. It's from chapter number 11. Start observing Saum on seeing the crescent of Ramadan and stop on seeing the crescent of Shawwal. And the English translation reads, narrated Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned Ramadan and said, do not fast unless you see the crescent of Ramadan, and do not give up fasting until you see the crescent of Shawwal. But if the sky is overcast, if you cannot see it, then act on estimation, that is, count Shaban as 30 days. Now, when you come to this particular hadith, what has changed? One thing has changed for sure. Then act on estimation, and the same exact word has been used. So do you get the point? I hope you do. So here it says, لا تصوموا حتى تروا الهلال. It says لا تصوموا, do not fast, do not start fasting, حتى until what? تروا, the same derivative from ru'ya, unless you do ru'ya of al-hilal, of the crescent. Now the word crescent is actually present in the Arabic text, the crescent. Al-hilal, this is the part, al-hilal. Okay, unless you do ru'ya of hilal. But still, the word ru'ya will still remain what it is, and it will not necessarily have to be translated as sight, naked eye sighting. Seeing means the implication is naked eye sighting, but this need not be the case, as we have already explained. And I'm sure now that the translation over here gives the correct translation, you will understand that I'm not picking up fast ones. So if you want to verify, obviously you have to do some research on your own, and you can pick up and look at the classical Arabic dictionaries, and things will be clear to you. So this should ideally be translated as, do not fast until you do ru'ya of al-hilal of Ramadan. That is the understanding, and they have put in the brackets. That's fine. Unless you do ru'ya, unless you have the knowledge, the understanding, the calculation to go with it. So unless you have all of this, and do not give up fasting until you see the crescent. So this is the part, wala tuftiru hatta tarawhu. So here the word hu is used, al-hilal is not repeated, so the crescent should not be present. But these are very minor points. The major points itself are so problematic that we don't want to waste more time on these minor issues. And do not give up fasting, wala, and not, wala tuftiru hatta, and do not stop fasting, hatta, till tarahu, till you do ru'ya of it, meaning the crescent. Fa in humma, and the same part, fa in humma alaykum, so this is upon you, faqduru lahu. So this part is correctly translated now, but this part remains problematic. But if the sky is overcast, neither the word sky is there nor the word overcast is there. It has again, let me explain to you, alaykum, upon you, assalamu alaikum. Remember that, it's easy for you. Even without a knowledge of Arabic, it's so easy for you to understand. So if there is grief upon you, and why should there be grief upon you? Because of your inability, because of not having sighted the moon, or not having the knowledge of the presence of the hilal. In either case, it makes sense both ways, but what I'm saying is that translation should not be, the text should not be translated the way it has been. That's simply not correct. So this doesn't make sense. But if the sky is overcast, you cannot see it. I'm not saying that the interpretation does not make sense, but what I'm saying is this is too much. This is not allowed. This is unacceptable. But if the word sky is not there, word overcast is there, rather the word you is there, and that's not there. You say it's there in the brackets, but that's part of the text, but not in the manner in which it has been interpreted. So let's just complete this hadith as well. فَإِنْ هُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. And if there is grief upon you, so estimate for it. Make an estimation whether it is present or not. So that translation, that interpretation is valid as well. The interpretation that we have given in conjunction with the meaning of the word ruya, it also makes a lot of sense. The third hadith that we want to look at is this particular hadith. This one, I guess it's from the same chapter. It is from the same chapter. That is chapter number 11, and this is the hadith I'm talking about. So narrated Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abul Qasim sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, start fasting on seeing the crescent of Ramadan, and give up fasting on seeing the crescent of Shawwal. And if the sky is overcast and you cannot see it, complete 30 days of Shaban. Okay, now this is actually very interesting. Things are becoming very interesting now. It says, Sumu li ru'iyatihi. This is the word I was using. Sumu, fast, li ru'iyatihi. On or for ru'iyatihi. When he is it, when you do ru'ya of it. Again, the word crescent is not present. The word hilal is not present. It was present in the second hadith which we analyzed. So here it says it li ru'yatihi. So sumu li ru'yatihi, fast, start fasting on seeing it, the crescent of Ramadan. And then it says wa aftiru li ru'yatihi, and give up fasting on seeing it, the crescent of Shawwal. And next comes the interesting part. And this part is more interesting than the previous ones. It's more interesting, actually, very interesting. Because it has got the potential to mislead you even more if you don't look at the Arabic text. Now, it seems to suggest that in this case, it's more specific. And if the sky is overcast and you cannot see it, complete 30 days of Shaban. And you do actually find the word Shaban over here. And some people may say, and even the 30 is also mentioned. And some people may say that this is taken as the basis, and the other hadiths which we have spoken about in the first two hadiths is basically an interpretation based on this one. So the understanding over there is valid, and not the way I have presented it to be. But it's not quite the case, as we will demonstrate. It says, for in, if you remember, the word used was humma, no more. It says hubbiya. For in hubbiya alaykum, this part is still the same, alaykum, upon you. For akmilu, that is complete, this part is again same. Same in the sense that this part is okay now, complete. Iddata, complete the period Sha'bana, of the month of Sha'ban, thalathina, of 30, that is 30 days. Fine, that's fine. So complete 30 days of Sha'ban. But when to complete the 30 days of Sha'ban? Just look at it. Look at this part. فَأَكْمِلُوا إِدَّةَ شَعْبَانَ ثَلَاثِينَ. So complete the period for Sha'ban, the 30 days. So complete 30 days of Sha'ban, and then, I mean, uh, we're dealing with Ramadan and Shawwal. It's already somewhat problematic, but in any case, we are not raising issues with this. Let us consider this part for the beginning, and the consequences follow thereof for the next part as well. Okay, so complete the period of 30 days for Shaban before you commence Ramadan. If you can't see it, it seems to suggest that way. If you can't see it, if the sky is overcast and you cannot see it, this is what seems to be suggested by the English translation, by the translation. But in the Arabic, does it say so? You should complete 30 days. On what condition? What is the condition? The condition, according to the translation, seems to be if the sky is overcast and you cannot see it. But is that the case? It says, فَإِن غُبِّيَ عَلَيْكُمْ فَإِن غُبِّيَ عَلَيْكُمْ. It's no more gumma, that you are overtaken by grief and sorrow and melancholy and oppression. No. The word used this time is غُبِّيَ. And what is the meaning of غُبِّيَ? So let's translate this part, keeping the word gubbiya, and then let us substitute the English word for gubbiya. So if there is a gubbiya upon you, then what you should do? Is you should complete the period of 30 days for Shaban. Agreed? So if there is gubbiya upon you, so there is no question of, it's something to do with you, not to do with the sky being overcast. Okay, so if there is rubbia upon you, if that is the case, then what you should do is you should complete the period of 30 days of Shaban. Now, what is the meaning of the word gubbia? It's important. Gubbia means stupidity. Will you believe me? You don't have to believe me. You just go and check in the dictionary, in the Loga. So if there is stupidity upon you, if there is ignorance upon you, if you do not have the knowledge, is the opposite of ru'ya. If you do not have the knowledge, if there is no knowledge upon you about these issues, in that case, what you should do is you should complete 30 days of Shaban. What it essentially means that you have certainty of knowledge of the presence of Hilal. You need not do that if you are sure that the Hilal is present in the sky, the ru'ya. I don't want to elaborate anymore. I hope I have been able to explain it pretty well. If you don't agree with me, I cannot help you, but the word sky is not there, the word overcast is not there, and what we have stated just now is verifiable. What it essentially means, and if there is stupidity upon you, that means you essentially don't have the expertise and the knowledge to determine the presence of the hilal. In that case, the suggestion is you should complete 30 days of Shaban. How else could you determine it? So it has been presented, this injunction is for ease. Now, just one more point, which will actually cover two hadith statements. This is from chapter 13, an explanation to the previous hadith, to hadith number 3 that we discussed just now, is this chapter number 13, we neither write nor know accounts. Why? If there is stupidity upon you, you should complete 30 days, is because of this particular hadith narrated Ibn Umar anhu. The Prophet ﷺ said, we are an illiterate nation, we neither write nor know accounts. The month is like this and this, there is sometimes of 29 days and sometimes of 30 days. So because we are an illiterate nation, you can also read the Arabic text if you want to, but not really necessary. It will take more time. Inna, indeed, ummatun, ummah, the nation, ummiyatun, is illiterate. La naktubu, we don't, I mean, the kataba, it's from kataba. Kitab, kataba is the root word. La naktubu, we don't write. Wala nahsubu, and we don't maintain accounts. We cannot maintain accounts. We cannot do hisab. Nahsubu. And then it goes on to describe ash-shahru hakaza wa hakaza. The month is sometimes like this and sometimes like this. That is to say, it is sometimes 29 days and sometimes 30 days. So this is the understanding. So in the previous, provision has been kept for those people to complete 30 days of Shaban if there is stupidity upon you. In the sense that if you cannot be certain, you don't have the necessary expertise and knowledge to be sure that the hilal is present in the sky. It goes along with ru'ya very well. And so that's what it is. And that explanation is from this particular hadith. This hadith is actually an explanation for that particular hadith. Uh, so we have actually discussed quite a few hadiths. I think till now we have discussed about 4 hadiths, and okay, we just leave with these 2 hadiths. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the month can be 29 nights, that is days, and do not fast till you see the moon, and if the sky is overcast, then complete Shaban as 30 days. And again, as you can see, the translations are problematic. You check it out for yourself. The hadith is 1907. Why I quoted this hadith is in clarification of the 4th hadith which we just quoted, that the month can be 29 days. It can also be 29 days, basically. The month can be 29 days. And do not fast until you see the moon. And then it follows. And the next hadith which says, this is hadith number 1908. It says, narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet ﷺ said, the month is like this and this. At the same time, showed the fingers of both his hands thrice and left out one thumb on the 3rd time, basically indicating 29. Okay, so I think we have had a more elaborate discussion than we initially had intended this session to be. But at least a lot of things are now clear. So when we have the next session, we wanted to keep this session short so that we could have a longer subsequent session. But since we have taken more time on this session to explain to you a lot of things which actually should help us in our way, in our journey towards understanding of these issues, it's okay. We'll take less time in the next session. So with this, we hope that we have been able to give some more clarity to some of these issues and also demonstrate to you. Just don't be blind enough now after so much effort has been put and you have taken the time to understand these issues. Don't be blind and again argue over the English translations. Don't bring the English, please. You try to understand from the Arabic text. I've tried to make life easy for you by giving the references, by pointing to you the words which you should investigate, study, research more on. I've tried to make your life easy. You should do your own research and come to your own conclusion. So that's what it is, and that's how we should help each other out. We should have this intention to search for and seek for the truth and understand the truth and accept it for what it is. So that's it for this session, and we'll continue with this issue. And the next time we actually deal with this issue, we will not need to refer back to these hadith statements. These are already available now with the references, so that's not required. We'll just be able to speak on the issues and then take things forward. So that's it for this session.